Hello, lovely loves. This is going to be on a French subject, or you can call it a conspiracy theory subject. And it's actually going to be on the subject of cannibalism. Cannibalism is the act or practice of humans eating the flesh or internal organs of other human beings. Let me first start out with the preface for this that all belief systems are not real, not one of them. You have to go back to more of a fundamental source of who are you, what are you, to whom do you belong, who walks with you, what is in the silence, what is silence. These are all questions, when asked truthfully and giving it into fully, will lead you to truth. I myself honestly can say that there is a push toward almost normalizing cannibalism in the media. I noticed it about 2 years ago. I was happened to just catch The Walking Dead with one of my family members who loves the show. I could not watch it. It was so completely absurd to me that I could not identify at all with the storyline. Granted, I ended up watching it, in some random season. I never saw the first episode or anything like that. And I'm also not saying there's anything wrong with watching these shows and being engrossed in them. I was actually able to sit through another cannibalistic show called the Santa Clarita Diet. So whatever that says about me, that's up to your own interpretation. I will say that personally, I find that when I'm watching TV, I can tolerate pure insanity when it's presented as comedy. So I can laugh at the insanity. But when it's like a drama or a horror, similar to how it's presented in The Walking Dead, the insanity seems too foreign. So it bothers me to participate in watching it. I keep thinking, who is expecting me to believe this bullshit? Like, why am I even sitting here watching this? Is this real? Like, is this supposed to even be real? So it becomes like a nagging annoyance to me that I'm watching such insanity, and so I just choose not to engage in it. Back to the subject. There's a huge moral bias against cannibalism. I will also say I have no desire to eat any flesh or blood, and this is not something that I forced myself to do or that I was told to do by some type of, ethics placed on me or belief system placed on me. This is something that blossomed out of my being as I sat with myself in joy, love, and peace. I wanted to do the patterns that I was used to, which included partaking in eating flesh. And so, at a certain point, I would try to do this and I would just feel sick. I would go to the store and I would go past the meat flesh section and I would get sick. So the thought of ingesting the flesh of any kind was disgusting to me. So I'll tell you something that I have, like a theory that I've based off of my experience. When I was pregnant and during most of the breastfeeding with both of my children, I did partake in ingesting some flesh. I generally tend to do things intuitively, and I'm not saying that I don't have programming. I definitely do have programming. But the things that I don't really pay much attention to, like my diet, generally, all these things happen. I wasn't paying attention to them. They tend to work more off of intuition when I'm not placing any beliefs around what I'm supposed to be doing. So, I intuitively fasted every season since I was in my early 20s, and, I'm about 36 now. So my theory is this. It's all about your vibration or the level of light and love that's being let in. Not everyone at this time is meant to live off of pure prana. And I feel like humanity, there's some of us that aren't even within that vibrational range. So it wasn't even something that was agreed upon, at the point of incarnation or, at the point of the light being shown and life being given to us. Although I do completely believe that it is a possibility for some Like, some people do have that as their, that is where the peace resides within them. The most peace resides at them. And it may even be something that happens through time as you let more light in. Maybe at some point that'll be me. I really don't know. I do know that we all have the whole within us, so we can choose to engage wherever we believe we should be. So when I carried my children, I felt like they took on more of a parasitic, vampiric energy within me from them growing and feeding, within me. And maybe this was just because of the beliefs that I have on what a baby takes from me while growing within me. And this caused me to desire to eat flesh again. Now, it's not socially acceptable for us to eat other humans, so I was eating mostly beef and some chicken. And I knew it was time to stop when it started to disgust me again. And this happened with both children. I can speculate that maybe it was the child's vibration that I was tuning into, or maybe it was just my interpretation of what was required from me, or it could even just be DNA programming. We are not our bodies. So a dead body is really an empty shell of flesh. In my opinion, us eating any type of flesh is no different than eating any flesh from any species. Yet, I do acknowledge that there are those who have beliefs, and which are basically lies, built around the definition of what species has what value. So, they believe that eating a dead human body is a condemned act, and it's akin to evil to them. And maybe it's acceptable for them to partake in the flesh of another species. This is a belief structure that they've created around this. It's all just lies. So, it's a difference that you then, place based off of your personal beliefs. And, there may even be some people who will take it that far and say there's no difference between eating a plant. And so maybe that means that they're akin to a breatharian. How would you know what your path is, or what your path is at this moment? What should you be doing at this moment? Because, it's an evolving thing. Well, how do you feel when you're ingesting plants? How do you feel when you're ingesting flesh? This is something for you to judge. And that's the only thing that you can judge. So I've given up on trying to judge others and what they're doing. That's not my function. I'm not capable of judging others. But my function is to judge how I feel, and how I feel when I'm doing these things. And so I have a further theory on it. Vampiric cannibalistic energy is an energy that, blood-contained life must feed on other blood-contained life. And this is part of the reality we created. We have lions, we have sharks, and we have humans. Humans have the choice to choose where they want to engage themselves and which energy they want to identify with at any given moment. We're alchemists. Do we want to be like the lion? Do we want to be like the cockroach? Is our goal peace? Is there peace in any of that for us? I could take this a little bit more deep and say, are we really trying to be like a lion when we're buying packaged flesh product at the supermarket? Are we even aware what the energy is that we're partaking in? Have we decided to have a dissonance view on what energy we're even partaking in when we're ingesting the flesh? I'm not going to go too deep into these nuances, but, even take it further. Are we like a tree? Do we get our energy from the earth and the sun and the rain? What are we? Who are we? We have formulated a definition of what a human body needs. And all of it is based off of collective belief structures, which are ultimately, even they are all lies. But I will admit that the collective agreements are there, and we have on some level agreed to the parameters that we have placed around ourselves. This is why people seem to starve and die of starvation. I'm not here to say anything is right, and while the other is not right, or there's something wrong and there's something right. I can't even say that one is less than another. I do feel that vampiric energy is less authentic for me. I base my judgment on how I feel when I'm engaged in it. So, one final thought on cannibalism. There is a quote on YouTube by a YouTuber that I really respect, and she was quoting something that someone else said and kind of giving her thoughts on it.
The teenage cannibalism drama America needs right now. Really? Is it? That's what America's teenagers need right now? In this society, really? And they point out in this Vox article, which I think is really the point of this in general, that Raw understands one very big idea, that no belief system, no matter how rigid, can't be compromised. And that's a triple negative, but what they're trying to say is they can compromise you no matter how strong your faith is. They can compromise you no matter how strong your belief systems are. That's what this statement is being made by this film. And it says the second that starts to happen, everything else starts to crumble and fall. And I said this is a coordinated effort to normalize cannibalism.
So the article states that there is no belief system that can really stand. And I agree with this. All belief systems are erroneous. They're all lies. Which is why we have to fall on, what are we? We are love. We are not our bodies. These bodies that we're experiencing in right now are here to be communication devices for love to our brothers and our sisters. And by that love, we're reflecting that love to the entire universe. And this is not a belief system. This is truth. There is no life without the light of love to spark it. Even vampiric energy. Our belief in it sparks what we see as its life. I theorize that this subject is being brought to light so that we can see that there is within us every day. This vampiric energy is in many of the choices that we make. Do we feel the need to take from others in order to have? Do we feel there is lack and scarcity? Do we feel that others must lose in order for us to win? What is true, scarcity or abundance? These are beliefs in consuming others' ideas, wealth, life, in order to sustain your own. It's all vampiric and cannibalistic energy. The act of cannibalism is foreign to me. We are sustained by the love of God and nothing else. So I'm probably going to touch on diet some more at some point, so just stay tuned. From my heart to yours, thank you.